What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to the bench for another episode on our Hasegawa 148 scale J2M3 Raiden. Yes, we are back on the Raiden, guys. We took a little bit of a break, pushed through the 12 sprues from our holiday build series. That's all done, so we're going to roll back into the jack and get this thing finished up as well. Now, last time we worked on this was quite a while ago, and we had finished off airbrushing the entire aircraft in the IJN Grey primer. Now, everything looks pretty smooth. I like how this is coming together, so I think what we're going to do today is start going ahead and painting on the top colors, and then of course the camo for the underside of the aircraft. Now originally I had thought I would do a little bit of chipping, and I thought to myself it would be kind of fun to try some chipping solution, maybe right here around the wing roots, maybe around the engines or the side of the fuselage, and I thought I would go ahead and use this stuff right here. And this is MIG chipping solution for scratches and chips, and I've heard really good things about it. A couple of layers of this on top of the color you want to go ahead and see. Then once you're done painting on your exterior color, take a toothpick or some brushes and just go ahead and scrub it off. But I don't really necessarily want to do as much chipping as that would do. I really don't like the overly distressed, damaged, trashed looking paint jobs that you see a lot of modelers doing for Japanese aircraft. Yes, I know towards the end of the war, they were not very well maintained and they were a little bit on the disheveled side. But early war and middle of the war, they were far cleaner and far less destroyed. I don't want to make it hugely disheveled. Now for our top coat, we're going to go ahead and go with this. This is Mr. Color. This is Mitsubishi Green, and it is a really nice looking color. We're going to overcoat the entire aircraft on the top with this. We'll have to do a little bit of pre-shade, a little post-shade, and I think that will look pretty decent. Now for the post-shade, I'm thinking I'm going to use some other greens. I'm going to try to stick with Mr. Color though, so I don't mix and match paint types. And I'm thinking I'm going to use this lighter green, come in and pick out certain panels, and then when I overcoat the entire aircraft with that darker green, I'm hoping it will kind of tint different panels, giving it a little color modulation. So let's go ahead and jump into our very first time lapse here. I'm going to go ahead and pre-shade the entire aircraft as neatly as I can with Tamiya NATO Black. Yep, I'm going back to NATO Black because that stuff usually works really, really well for me, and I like how it shows up through different colors of paint. So let's go ahead and jump right in there, guys, push forward, and see what we can do. Let's get going. Now with the jack all nicely pre-shaded, I am ready to go ahead and start doing some painting. Now I'm going to be using an IJN Grey for the undersurface, and then I'm going to probably do a little bit of pre-shade with Tamiya Sky. I just want to go ahead and give a couple of panels some color modulation, and I think Sky is just close enough to the green that it should complement it nicely. Again, I don't know for sure, but we're going to try it, and if I don't like it, I can always just overpaint it. Not really that big of a deal. I think we're going to go ahead and jump in here. We're going to start with some Sky, come in and do a little pre-shade with the Sky on different panels. Then we're going to apply the IJN Grey, and then we'll start doing some highlighting, and then we'll overcoat the top coat with our Mitsubishi Green. So back onto the time lapse, let's continue. So now we have our jack all nicely airbrushed. We have our IJN Grey on the bottom, and we have our Mitsubishi Green on top. And I did a little bit of pre-shade, of course, with the lighter green. And I really tried to kind of give a nice color modulation and color variations there on different panels. I think it looks okay. It's not perfect. I'm sure I could have done better, but I think this is going to be good enough for what I got going. Now we're going to go ahead and move on though to some of the detail painting areas, such as the front anti-glare panel, the leading edge of the wings, and then the top of the rear tail. Now to do that though, I'm going to go ahead and overcoat the yellow areas with the Stynylrez white primer. I did that in a lot of different aircraft there on the 12 Sprues, and I really liked how the paint applied down on top of that white primer. I'll mask everything off. I'll lay down a nice thin coat of the primer. Then I'll come in with some of our yellow orange. We picked that up actually from Mr. Color, and it looks really, really nice. I've used it a few times before on other applications, and you can get a really nice deep orangey yellow with it. And so we're gonna go ahead and use that. So back onto the time lapse, guys. Let's go ahead and get that anti-glare panel. That's gonna be a little mixture of blue and black. Then let's prime up the yellow areas and then hit it with that yellow paint. Let's continue. All right, everybody, we are back, and our J2M3 is looking pretty cool. I like how the paint has turned out so far. I really like how the anti-glare panel has turned out. I went ahead and I mixed up some blue and some black, both by Tamiya. I used probably about 70% black, and I dropped in about 30% blue, just to go ahead and give it a little bit of a tint. Then I came in with some NATO black. I don't know if it really worked, to be honest, but I'm happy with it. You know, we're moving forward, we're learning as we're going. Let's go ahead and just pull the rest of the masks off, and let's talk a little bit about what's up next. I'm going to go ahead and call it quits for today, though. I want to make sure that everything is nicely cured and we don't have any issues, maybe with sticking down masks or whatnot, because I want to go ahead and I want to paint on the national markings. Because as markings go, they are fairly simplistic. They're just a red circle. It's something I have kind of dabbled with in the past. Now, in this case, though, it's the red circle, but it has a white border. I'm going to go ahead and check out a couple things off camera, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my circle hole cutter and some basic frog painter's tape. I like frog tape because it's not too tacky. It's relatively see-through for a yellowish tape, and it actually cuts very easily. I'm probably going to go ahead and see if I can't use what I have to create some of my own masks and stencils for the national markings. And then once I kind of figure out how wide the white band should be, I'll go ahead and I'll cut that first. Then I'll use the exact same center point, and I will move the circle hole cutter a little bit in, and I'll run it around again so that I have a white band and I have the center. Again, I'm kind of new to the whole painting on national markings. I haven't done a lot of that, but I think going ahead and trying it with a Japanese aircraft is actually way more beneficial because, again, the markings aren't too complicated, and it gives me an opportunity to learn how to use a circle hole cutter, practice my measurements, and, just see what I can do. But that's going to be it for today, guys. So far, all of my lines look very clean, very neat. I didn't have any paint bleed underneath the tape, so I'm happy with that. I just made sure I burnished down and I applied very thin coats. I think that works really, really well. And yeah, we are looking pretty decent. So next episode, we'll be back, starting getting on with those national markings. And until our next episode, you guys know the drill. Go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool. And we'll see you back here on episode number 6 for the J2M3 Jack by Hasegawa. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you soon.